My name is Fatima Sane and I work with Charles Rivers Laboratory as a scientist, and I'm a member of Black Professional Scotland. Welcome to my BPS Spotlight. I migrated from Nigeria in 2010, September 2010 to be precise, and I came to Aberdeen for my master's at the Robert Gordon University. And after that, I did some jobs, some part-time jobs. I did work in pharmacy, which I enjoyed because I thought, oh, being an overseas pharmacist, what's stopping me from like getting UK experience? So I did work in the pharmacy as a dispensing assistant prior to me getting a job in Charles Rivers, and I've been in Charles Rivers for over 8 years now. It's going to be 9 years in November. My first impression just getting to UK was will people understand what I'm saying? Am I going to be able to like communicate properly? Am I going to be seen differently? Like am I going to be seen as, oh, she's a black lady, then I'm not going to like, interact with her, or I'm not going to like sit next to her. Yeah, I had that when I first came to UK. I pursued career in pharmaceutical industry because I studied pharmacy in Nigeria, and while I was an overseas pharmacist, I had worked in cumulative practice, which is the normal pharmacy you just take your prescription to, and I'd also worked in community hospital practice. And I had a bit of industry experience, and I thought the first two I mentioned were kind of like monotonous, and I thought I want something more interesting, which is the industry, because with industry you get to do different things as a pharmacist. You get to do like clinical research, scientists just like myself, quality assurance and things like that. I like to like improve people's quality of life, so I thought, yeah, why not come to pharmaceutical industry? And then, yeah, that's how I started my career in pharmaceutical industry. Just before the completion of my master's, I spoke with my course advisor then, and he did give me a list of companies that in Scotland I could look into. And I remember the very first company put on the list was Charles Rivers Laboratories. My first thought working at Charles Rivers was, am I going to fit in? Am I going to be accepted? And just so many thoughts were going through my mind, and also considering me coming from Aberdeen to Edinburgh. So it was just so many thoughts running through my mind. When I first got in, how did it change my thinking? How did it change my thought? Yeah, I was because I'm still here. I was accepted, and I had fantastic team. And the learning background, the learning program here is fantastic also. So I was kind of like put at ease. Had support of my manager then, because I said earlier my family is in Aberdeen, I'm in Edinburgh. So there was like this work-life balance, because I get to like travel every weekend to go back to Aberdeen, and my manager did allow me to have like flexible hours, so I would come in early just so I could have that time to like travel back to Aberdeen over the weekend. So yeah, that kind of like put all my worries at ease. And yeah, how would I describe the recruitment experience when I applied at Charles Rivers? It's been a while now, but I would say it was really good. Yeah, when I came for the interview, I came all the way from Aberdeen. And I remember then there were like stages of the interviews. I was meant to go through so many stages, but the HR person that I spoke with knew I was coming from Aberdeen, and it would be too much on me having to come for different stages. The main interview, having to meet the director, then do some personality tests with HR. So they kind of like asked me if it was okay to like fit all those things together in one day, which I do really appreciate, because it would have been a lot coming from Aberdeen every time they feel I need to come in. Not like he doesn't want it for the job, but I mean they were considerate, and they were considerate, and yeah, I think it was okay. And I think now it's even much more better, with more flexibility, post-COVID. Some people I know, my department, for example, whenever there's an interview coming up, I see some people, my manager and some other people say they are having like interview, but it's not like face-to-face. So that means they're giving people the opportunity to like do some interviews online and things like that. Yeah, so it's been good. Yeah, I got this job. The challenge was the commuting every weekend to see my family member. The cost of like running two different houses, one in Aberdeen, one in Edinburgh, because I have to be in Edinburgh for like 5 days, go over weekend. It was challenging, and I did get support here because when I was moving down to Edinburgh, I was offered a relocation package at the beginning, and then yeah, that helped me at the beginning. And also, I mentioned earlier, I got a support from my manager, having to like let me leave work on time. So yeah, how long have I worked with Charles Rivers? It's going to be 9 years in November, and yeah, it's been a journey. So when I started with Charles Rivers, I started as a formulation specialist, and I thought, okay, I know everything about this job, and maybe I should just say a bit about my role as a formulation specialist. So then I was working with dispensaries, so we kind of like make formulations, more like drugs to be dosed for animals, because we do like preclinical testing and we do more preclinical work. So my job as a formulation specialist would be like to QC check, to make sure all materials are ready for them to be using making the drugs, and the drugs then go to the next stage. The formulation goes to the next stage, which is the analysis, to analyze if you've got the right amount of drug in the whole formulation. And I thought, okay, I'm making the drug, I'm getting all these things across to the next person, and they're analyzing it. What's stopping me from knowing how to analyze these drugs? So yeah, so I thought it would be good for me to like move to analytical chemistry, and also because I did masters in drug analysis and toxicology, it would be then very good for me to like get to know more about this analysis part of the drug. So then I switched to analytical chemistry, which is where I am just now. And I started as an assistant scientist, all the way to like senior assistant scientist, and now I'm a laboratory scientist. Do I think Charles River is a place to like get your career to the next level, or get your career to the very, very top? Yeah, I would say, yeah. I mentioned earlier on, I started as a formulation specialist, get on to be an assistant scientist, senior assistant scientist, laboratory scientist. I'm not there yet. I know I'm still going higher, and yeah, there are so many programs in Charles Rivers. There's so many trainings in Charles Rivers. In addition to that, there's a progression scheme. So, for example, like me, I started off as an assistant scientist, and then progressed to like senior assistant scientist 1, senior assistant scientist 2, and now a laboratory scientist. Also, I've gone through so many trainings, and one of the trainings I went through is coaching, and I'd already told my manager I would like to be a coach, which I'm already like on the list now as a coach in the department. So if there's anybody in the department that needs to be mentored or to be coached, then is then put forward to one of the coaches that are available to like help any of the team members like get to where they want to be. Yeah, so on a smiling note, what do I find interesting about this company, Charles Rivers Laboratory? For me personally, my team, I've got wonderful team members, like everybody's wonderful. And maybe job-wise is a work-life balance for me. Yeah, the work-life balance is top-notch for me because I love to spend quality time with my family. I've got 2 young girls, 9 and 6-year-old, and my husband is a fantastic man. And apart from that, in my spare time I do YouTube videos, like more like to help immigrants just like myself in UK, and I share tips about UK immigration tips, just so like if you're willing to come to UK, or maybe you're in UK and you're willing to like settle comfortably, or you need that first-hand information. Yeah, I do something like that on my YouTube channel. What are my thoughts regarding Black inclusion in UK? I would say, considering where we were to where we had just now, it is an improvement. And most especially my company now, in partnership with Black Professional Scotland, I would say this is like a huge step taken. And yeah, I'm looking forward to like more improvement. I'm looking forward to see more inclusion and diversity.